Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Today is, I believe it's Thursday, July the 2nd. It is 1:51. I'm going to start off with a sound saying. It's coming from Psalm 7, verse 10. It says, "My defense is of God, which saveth the upright in heart." My defense is of God, which saveth the upright in heart. And God will literally protect you. He will look after you. If you are heading somewhere where there is danger and God does not want you to suffer that, He will derail you one way or the other. He will make you turn to the right, to the left, stop, go backwards. He is your provider. He is your refuge. He is your protector. And unlike any other protector, He does the best job in protecting us from others, protecting us from ourselves. So He literally means it when He says, I will look after thee. Okay? He will not watch you walk into a slaughterhouse. No, sir. Absolutely not. If you belong to Him, you are His forever, and He will look after you forever. Okay, so it says, my defense, He is your defense, is of God. Okay, which saveth the what? Upright in heart. What is upright? Means you have a right relationship with Him. Period. That's what it means. That is the upright in heart. Okay. The back of it is coming from 1 Corinthians 15:57, and it says, "But thanks be to God, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ." Yes, Lord. If you're victorious in any area of your life, it is God that has given you that victory. Okay? It doesn't matter what you're going after, what you're pursuing. If you obtain that which you're going after, it is not your efforts. It is God's grace that has given you that victory. All right? Now we're going to finish out with the story of Joseph. And this last reading, I'm just noticing, chapter 41 of Genesis is a very long chapter. It has a whopping 57 verses in it. We will not get through it in one day. We will do it in 2 days. So we will stop at 28, verse 28, and continue the remaining. If not tomorrow, then it will be Saturday or Sunday after the holidays. Okay, so let's continue with the story. And as before, I will not be using the New International Version for this entire lesson. Okay, I think we need to start learning how to understand the words in the Bible. So I will start to wean us from the New International Version unless it's absolutely positively necessary. Okay, in chapter 41, Joseph is still in jail. The baker has been killed. The butler is back in his position. And of course, he has forgotten to mention Joseph to the Pharaoh. Okay, so this dream here will remind the butler of the gentleman in jail that interpreted his dreams. Okay, that's how people are today. You can't trust man at all. Today, in the biblical time, when we are all gone, you still won't be able to trust man at all. Okay? You should put limited amount of trust in man and all your trust in God. Period. Okay? So let's continue. We're going to take this from verse 1 to verse 28. Okay, verse 1 to verse 30 ends here. And of these verses, the majority of it is gold for prophecy. We do have about 6 verses or 5 verses of pink for witnessing. We do have one verse of brown for Satan, and a split verse 24, split gold coming first, and then brown for Satan is last. So let's continue. I will always read the heading to you, and it says, Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dream. Joseph is set over all the land of Egypt. Manasseh and Ephraim are born, and 7 years of famine began. So there's a lot going on in these 57 verses. And at the end of the lesson, we will kind of give you a short version of what this whole entire lesson was all about. Okay, so let's begin. And it says, verse 1 to verse 7 is all gold for prophecy. And let's begin. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years, since the butler has been back in his position, that the Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. 3. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and paddle shields, and they fed in a meadow. A good word. I'll give you the definition for that tomorrow. I've never seen it before. Paddle shields. Okay, 3. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-flavored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other keen upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and the lean-shield keen did eat up the 7 well-flavored and fat kings. So the Pharaoh awoken, because this is a nightmare. This is an actual nightmare that will wake you up and keep you awake for the rest of the morning. Okay, so that's what happened to the king. He woke up after having this terrible dream and couldn't fall back to sleep. And it troubled him all day long, as a bad dream will. Okay, 5. And he slept and dreamed the second time, and behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. 6. And behold, 7 thin ears, and blasted with the east wind, sprung up after them. 7. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 ranks and full ears. And the Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. So he has 2 dreams back to back, and they're almost similar. Okay? And they're troubling. Both dreams are quite troubling. Okay? 8, which is that first brown verse that I said we had for Satan. And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt, and all the wise men thereof. And the Pharaoh told his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto the Pharaoh. What did Joseph say? Interpretations of dreams is of God. And God gives this interpretation ability to his servants. So although he was surrounded by magicians and other men of God, wise men, none of them had this capability. All right? Let's continue. From 9 to 13 is pink for witnessing. Pay attention. We don't want to get lost. Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my faults this day. So he remembers. 10. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and had put me in war in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker. He's reminding him. 11. And we dreamed a dream in one night, I and he. We dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. 12. And there was there with us a young man, a Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guards. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dream. To each man according to his dream he did interpret. He's sharing this with the Pharaoh now. Okay? Which of course is going to do what he intended to do. It's going to make the Pharaoh want this individual before him. Okay? Because he has all these other knuckleheads and nobody can tell him about his dream. 13. And it came to pass as he interpreted to us, so it was. As he interpreted, so it was. So what he said, what the dream meant, it was as he said. This is what it means by so it was. And it came to pass as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored unto my office, and him he hung. Okay? From 14 to 23 is solid gold for prophecy. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily in a hurry out of the dungeon. And of course, they didn't bring him to the Pharaoh just as he was. They cleaned him up, of course, because he was being taken to the Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon, and he shaved himself and changed his remnant and came in unto the Pharaoh. As I say, they're not going to bring you to the Pharaoh looking like who did it to what. You have to look presentable. Okay? 15. And the Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee, that thou can understand a dream to interpret it. Okay? 16. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, it is not in me. He's acknowledging something which we need to do more often. It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. Okay? So whatever God puts in his spirit, that is what he will say to the Pharaoh. Excuse me. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, in my dream, behold, I stood upon the brink of the river, and behold, there came upon out of the river 7 kine, fatter shield, and well favored, and they fed in a mildew. 19. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill favored, and lean fleshed, such as I never seen in all of the land of Egypt for badness. So these other 7 ones were so sickly, he's never seen anything like that in his living life. 20. And the lean and the ill-favored king did eat up the first 7 fat king. 21. And when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them, but they were still ill-favored, as at the beginning, so I awoken. That's the first dream. He's going to share more. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk, full and good. 23. And behold, 7 ears withered, thin and blasted, with the east wind sprung up after them. 24, this is the verse that had the split colors in it. The gold comes first, and then the gold says, and the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears. The brown of this verse says, and I told this unto the magicians, that there were none that could declare it to me. So he has shared this with all these others here, and none of them could interpret his dream. Here comes Joseph in God's spirit. And Joseph said unto the Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. He had 2 dreams, but it has one meaning. God has showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. Did not tell you in your dreams. It is a way of God communicating with you. He tells you that which is to come in your dream. Okay, so dreams should be considered, unless, and I will tell you that at the end of the lesson, when you should not consider that dream. But other than that, you should always consider your dreams. All right? And Joseph said unto the Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. God has showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 26. The 7 good kind are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one. 27. The 7 thin and ill-favored kind that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. Okay? 28. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. 29. Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. 30. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine. All the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land. As I said, we will stop at 30, and we will continue, if not tomorrow, Saturday, with the rest of this story. But in the meantime, there is a worldly holiday coming. A lot of people will be out and about trying to celebrate and enjoy themselves. Please try to keep in mind that the pandemic is not over. Please try to keep in mind that your mask is still important. Try to keep the distance. And try to do all this and still enjoy yourself. Alright? And since this is a holiday of feast, try to see if you can feed someone that you know has no one to help them or feed them. Your neighbor, an elder, doesn't matter, a family member. It's good to have a feast and invite all your friends, but it's better to have a feast and invite all those you don't really know. That's what pleases God. So try to be giving in this holiday and helpful during this holiday. In the meantime, may the peace of God be upon you. May the protection of God surround you and all those you love. And may the will of God come from thee. As always, thank you for joining us here and listening to the Word of God. And enjoy the rest of this day as well as your holiday. And I love you very much. Thank you for listening.